I would like to welcome you, Juri Hanski from VTT, and Lindsey Jackson from Sandvik, to discuss your experiences using Softability XReach remote support solution in research work related to smart grid area, and then more specifically in business environment in Sandvik mining business. My name is Juha Asunmaa. I work as a business unit director at Softability, and I think you, Juri, promised to work as a moderator as we kind of ripple the discussion through.
That's okay.
And maybe you would wish to introduce yourself here at the beginning.
So I'm Lindsey Jackson. I work for Sandvik as the field service inspection specialist, working at a global capacity, working with remote support and the rollout associated with it.
So I'm Juri Hanski. I'm a research scientist at VTT. I focus my research on asset management and the lifecycle management of certain technical solutions and systems. And I'm currently involved in Smart Otaniemi ecosystem, for which I'm also here. And in this project or pilot project, I explore the strategies and technologies that are related to maintenance and lifecycle management of the smart grid. In this project, we are working with Softability also. We are in the same project. And that is also one of our key tasks there, to really explore what are the beneficial use cases for the remote support that could be really beneficial for all the actors and could improve the life cycle costs, lower the life cycle cost of operating electricity networks, for maintaining electricity networks in those like user companies.
For us, it's very important to work with research institutes, kind of make the basic study exercises, finding the right next steps there, as well as the product is. So that's one area that we will discuss more in detail. Then the kind of business applications, how we have been utilizing the product in business environment, in mining environment.
Yeah, so really, because you have been participant in this project, so how do you see, does your solution, the XReach, how does it work? What are the main functions? What are the benefits for the users?
If I start a bit from the basics, the solution is very industry oriented. We do not actually offer it for the offices, and it's for this kind of a bit more complicated manual work. So when there is a remote worker working with a machine fixing something, doing a service, and he cannot solve it, he ends up into a problem situation. He's alone at customer site. How to proceed? With this solution, he can connect an expert remotely, which hears everything that the person on site. He can easily instruct in front of that person, okay, please, this is the next button there, and he can draw it. Person sees it immediately, push it, then open that cover, and as for example chat message, do these set of things. And at the same time, as the support is given, it gets stored. So it's automatically available after giving the support in the system, which then helps when the next time comes. You don't need to make the support call, you have the instructions already available. You don't need to save it, it does for you. And it's kind of also using smart system that you can easily find then information later when you have a case that you don't quite know how to work with. one thing that comes into my mind is API Research made a kind of independent survey of using this kind of technologies in the industry. And it's publicly available. It's this kind of analysis company. We don't have a connection to that company. However, they made a business study of this.
Yeah.
And the main findings regarding the benefits that you are asking, and it's that independent study, were that the responses are better because you get help.
Yeah.
You save costs because the other person doesn't need to travel. You save cost also because you get the production up and the machinery working again faster.
Yeah, so the unavailability costs are lower there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Less errors, better utilization of workforce and also the machinery. It's very valuable that you get this knowledge base based on the work, based on the field work. You have the information there afterwards, and you have means to find it easily.
Yeah, for that I would like to give a notion if you have the knowledge base there.
Yeah.
So how could you use the knowledge? Into what kind of system do you see that it's very applicable? For example, if you have a maintenance support system or the company has some kind of production support system or production management system, do you see the good, that the information could be easily used to support different types of systems?
Interesting. Very good viewpoint. Perhaps even an exciting viewpoint, because if you are able to integrate with the other company systems, you get a lot of more benefits.
Yes.
You can support the existing processes. You can really tailor-made it to fit for the company procedures. And that's a good thing.
Well, then I think that it would be very interesting if you could move to the real application areas. So Lindsey, could you tell us more about your mining industry case? So what was the main motivation for implementing the remote support here?
So the main motivation, there's several at play. One of them, as you guys have mentioned, is cost. Another one is leveraging the experiences across the company, because what will hopefully separate us through the use of this system is if you hire a smaller contractor, you get sort of one person's knowledge base. If you hire a representative of our company to go out there and he is supported by the rest of the company, you're leveraging the entire company basically through that knowledge. So, and being able to catalog that knowledge as well, to be able to build some sort of knowledge bank of our lessons, is something that hasn't really existed in any significant scale before now. So having a global solution that catalogs all of this data and compiles it and puts it in a place where the rest of the experts have access to it at any point, and then if the answer isn't there in the FAQ, in the library or whatever we build, then they can dial an expert sort of at a moment's notice and get somebody who's awake. Because globally across multiple time zones, one of the major things is if you have support just from that sales area, you're sort of 9 to 5 or whatever hours the expert works. But if we link it all together, if we link the different sales areas together, we can globally cover, because the mines are operating 365 days a year, round the clock, 24 hours. So our support needs to be the same, because if you have an incident on night shift in Australia, you need somebody who's awake in America to support them on the same timescale. Yeah. So. And I guess the secondary benefit is that we will be able to trend incidences as they occur. So where are the gaps in our knowledge? So if we compile all of the tickets and we see that there are reoccurring incidences where technicians are sort of a little bit out of their element, then we can target those issues in our competence development or in our training to then sort of plug those gaps. It means that we can pipe that valuable data back to the very, very back line, which traditionally communication levels get more difficult as it gets further and further away geographically, within divisions, within sales areas, within such a business of scale. It's hard to get that piece of information, that piece of feedback. What does that technician need help with, all the way back to the area where the machines are being built. Yeah. Whereas this way, if we compile and record all of this and learn from it, we can make better machines, we can serve our customers better. You're not dealing with one individual who's out there on site, you're dealing with a team.
Do you see that there is this in mining case? So there is a need for that field worker needs to know about a lot of different types of technologies, technological fields, and various types of machinery which are different ages and different models and that kind of thing. Do you see that this solution kind of brings some kind of support for those maintenance work?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right. It's very difficult to become an expert on a machine. It often takes years or decades to know that particular machine inside and out. We have experts in each individual different machine, and so all we have to do is make sure that that expert for that machine is connected to that technician who needs help.
Yeah.
We can build that knowledge base and understand how machines will tend, whether they tend towards specific issues. And if we can predict the way that our machines are going to react in a certain area within maintenance, then we can offer a better service and we can increase our uptime, we can increase our productivity. Yeah. We can get ahead of the curve.
Yeah. So we are talking about benefits here, but what are the challenges in this remote support? What are the typical challenges that you have faced in your implementation project and development process, of course?
I guess they stem from the same areas, because the same benefit of having such a wide scope and being able to support around the clock also becomes a bit of a detriment in trying to roll out something globally, a single solution globally. So we have variances in network, we have variances in culture, in country, in management styles, in different layers of the business all the way through. So it's this sort of technicolor environment that we're trying to roll out a singular solution to. So what excites me is having a scalable solution, especially for AR and VR, where it doesn't really matter so much if you have the phone that's on you, issued by Sandvik, or you have a set of the glasses, mixed reality glasses. There's a solution to match budget, there's a solution to match network, there's a solution to match sort of all of that gradient within there.
Yeah, we are referring to the cost elements and benefits here. So I'm very interested in this topic, and how would you see, so what is actually the role of the remote support in improving or reducing the life cycle costs of mining operations or just the maintenance operations in the mining industry? I mean, this would be a very interesting research topic, but how do you see this? Can you give us some kind of scale or?
Yes, so what immediately comes to my mind is the idea of a first-time fix. So if you have better knowledge, if you have better tools, if you have an improved understanding of the machine, in my mind, you're far more likely to get a first-time fix. So you only have to send the technician out once because he's being supported by everybody else. So if he's not 100% sure on anything, he can dial somebody who will be. And if they're not 100%, then they can contact somebody else, and we can feed consensus back there. And we're much more likely to get that issue solved, and throughout that, getting it catalogued, so that if it does crop up a second time, we've faced either the same situation or a similar situation, and we can leverage all of that. And all of that, in my mind, translates through to the machine being more reliable in terms of maintenance.
Yeah, so just to recap, so you think it's saving like the visits so that's the visit cost or some kind of expert cost, and then the unavailability costs are reduced. So those are the main cost elements that are like improved here.
Yeah, you're also sending,
and of course, and also gradually you are of course improving the capabilities of your workers in a way, and also they know better where to get their information from and how to better and I would say also faster do the maintenance operation or the repair operation in a way.
Yeah, basically, I see them as paying for a technician of a certain competency level, but for similar amount of money, getting an expert essentially on site with them.
Yeah.
For the same price or similar price. It's only the cost of implementing the system, license fees and the technology itself, the hardware.
Okay.
But for that extra cost, it's like having an expert in your back pocket every time they go to site. So you're kind of getting that extra benefit.
Yeah, really interesting. And also, I think this is very applicable also to other sectors in a way.
Absolutely.
We also have the other application case, which is the case Marta Tanemi, which is the smart grid. And in this topic, well, just in general view, I think we have been doing some research on the topic, and like in general in the industry, the main application areas for this kind of remote support, well, our research is more focused to the smart grid, the intelligent energy systems, and how to optimize their life cycle costs, how to optimize life cycle management approaches. And specifically, we focused on the transmission and distribution networks and their maintenance. And so, keeping this in mind, so in this context, the field maintenance was, of course, the most interesting, the most like relevant application area at the moment, of course. So we encountered the cases, for example, planning and scheduling of support, fault detection, positioning, visualizing the underground cables there. They have a lot of that kind of work at the moment going on to make the network more weather resistant. And identification of energized parts in substations, and also the remote access to experts and bringing the instructions to the site. If I refer to the benefits of the system in this research, it was mostly due to what you said, that the bringing the expert to the field, because of course the moving the expert from location to location is very costly and inefficient, and more so in cases like mining or electricity network. And the remote maintenance support from other workers was mentioned, work safety, automation of tasks, then of course the recording of work, which increasingly is taking place and good for the good, and freeing hands for maintenance work and bringing instruction to the field of vision, so you can see the instructions from your glasses or your phone or your device. I think that the need for this kind of services, remote support, is really increasing. Of course, due to the field workers, they need to use a lot of information systems and other supportive technologies. And I'm talking about the context of smart grid, of course. And the systems are, but this is very applicable to other sectors, I think also. The systems are becoming more intelligent, they're complex, there are a lot of actors in the ecosystems or business networks, and they need to communicate and cooperate. And there are also other actors that are like electric vehicles or buildings and demand response and that kind of things in the electric sector. And there's also others that are very similar in the other sectors. But how about Sandvik? So what do you think are the future plans and visions for this kind of solutions? What are your next steps in this process?
Again, going back to the model of having scalable levels of support helps us sort of figure out which solution is applicable for which sales area. So we can scale it up or down, and we can introduce it with, say, a lower level, cheaper, easier to implement solution, and then scale it up if they require higher levels. So if they go, hey, this is really great, I want to move to mixed reality, we can go, okay, well, what's your price point? What's your sales area size? What's your, what do you want to get out of it? And we can tailor a solution based on that. And that's been one of the major increases recently, was moving to a global rather than a centralized server in order to be, as you say, able to support them locally with low latency, because network is one of our sort of glaring challenges. So if we can get less latency, it makes the solution an easier thing to promote.
Yeah, so we started, Yuri, with Sandvik in Australia, built up our services there, and now those have been extended globally, US, Europe, and APAC area.
Yeah, great. So just to like more like specific question in a way, or on topic of the augmented reality and virtual reality, what are your plans in there? You are like implementing your solution globally now. So you are like what is the role? What kind of applications do you see for this kind of technology? So you have the maintenance applications there. So what are when I was talking about the whole life cycle, so what do you foresee are now the limits, if you like have a vision of the Sandvik in 2030, or how do you see the future?
That was a tough one.
Yes,
so I
that
see
was
it
my
as,
intention.
I see it as building a foundation with currently what we've got with remote support, so creating a very robust system, because having something that's reliable and dependable is of the utmost importance when you're talking about an isolated site in a very sort of almost forgotten corner, which tend to be where all the mine sites are. Yes. They don't tend to be quite close to built up civilization. So we need it to be dependable first. So building a solid foundation of remote support based on something that you can use with a phone or a tablet would be the ideal sort of first step. And then from there, it's about scaling that solution, rolling out that level of support globally, and then sort of moving it up in the levels that are applicable to the different sales areas and the different regions on where they want to go with it. And if we get demand for AR mixed reality in different regions, then we will try our best to meet that demand with the appropriate solution, not necessarily with just the top one straight off.
Yeah. Yes, that's interesting. And then you can move on from that, like a solution to the just test what is the most applicable in each of the cases, and the investment is not that great in the beginning, and you can modify it.
Mm-hmm. And I guess we got the great sort of first bump into this with the limitation of being able to send our service technicians and supporting staff to the front line with the global pandemic, because within a matter of months we went from being able to send people places to almost virtually zero in most sales areas. So it was kind of an adapt or die situation for that aspect, because we needed a way to support our frontline staff, and this was it. And we were already in a reasonable position to be able to pour some more resources into it and to be able to upscale it to be able to meet that demand. So we'd like to think that we're in a good position to be able to leverage that moving forward.
So now that you move to the XR technologies, how do you see that technology in the future? What are the next big things that you foresee for that?
I think you have a good presupposition in your question, because it's a big thing.
Yes.
It's a huge thing. If we kind of just look at to the business numbers.
Yes.
So within 3 years, the analytics estimate that we go from 8 billion to 30 billion in whole business.
Yes.
Of course, part of that is industry, what we are discussing here, and industry-based application. And that number is very different, but it's kind of getting nice growth as well. It's from roughly 1 million to a bit below 4 million. So
yes. We could now have some closing words. So, for example, could you, Lindsey, say what were the most important thing that came to your mind in this remote support topic that you would like to share us at the end of this discussion?
So I think the most important thing from our perspective is the two-way traffic that we get out of a more effective remote support solution. So we can provide a better solution to our frontline staff, which is then a knock-on effect to the customer. And that important information and data is then fed all the way back to the backline as well. So it creates a conduit of information that works ideally quite effectively in transferring that essential information backwards and forwards. And that makes it very easy. That makes a lot of improvements for both sides. So it's a win-win situation. If we have the better levels of communication from frontline to backline, that benefits us, that benefits our customers, our staff. There's really no downside if it's done well.
Yes. How about you, Juha? What would be your main message from discussion?
As I come from Softability, I like always these soft ideas. I mean, being able to create connection between people, even in the context where the people doesn't work in the same company. Having the environment where they can share their opinion and find something new using technology. Yeah. That's something which fascinates and which is kind of personal motivation as well. Then if we think how we understand as humans, this is perhaps not effective way of presenting information, but if you can get it into your senses and you can hear, see, you can move, you can use your hands, you get something which we don't quite understand how important it can be in future. And we have a technology that can help people to think more effectively. I think it's fascinating.
Yes.
So at this point, we are excited to be moving forward with a solid remote support solution. We're looking forward at getting really solid, really reliable communication from the front line to the back line within our own sphere. And we're very excited to see the rest of the developments and undertaking within the wider industry as a whole, within this tech sphere as a whole.
Wonderful. I would just like to thank you that you joined.
Yes.
It was.
Thank you for inviting me to join this discussion. It's a very good opportunity to discuss what are the implications of this technology in the various fields and to get and provide feedback to the actual, real players in the field. And thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.